Good evening, guys. I'm going to show you a quick tutorial on how to create a mood board in Photoshop. Um, we know that our next collection is going to be a 4-look resort slash swim collection, and the theme behind it could have been your favorite song or your favorite movie. So someone gave me an idea about a song I've never heard, and when I listened to the song and watched the video, I got a lot of 70s vibe, retro, vintage, space age, Paco Rabanne came to mind. So I'm going to show you some of the images that I selected for my mood board. So on the first board, just a blank artboard, I selected these. I pretty much just copied and pasted these images from off the internet. These are some Paco Rabanne looks that I wanted to use as inspiration. On the second artboard is another look from Paco Rabanne. When I looked at the video, I saw a lot of industrial type of imagery, shopping carts in the parking lot, subway station. So I love the image that I saw on the video of the shopping carts. Also, the industrial buildings and atmosphere reminded me of this painting. So I took this painting and deleted out the white background. And for the 70s vintage look, this print, this floral print is definitely something that reminds me of the 70s. So these are some of the looks that I want to use. I'm sorry, some of the images that I want to use for my mood board. So images from this page, as well as these 3 images. Here is actually the print that I created from 3 of the images. So later on, this print is going to go into the swimwear. But like I said, I'll keep this video short and simple to create a mood board. Okay, so in order to create your art space, what you would do, you would hit File, New, a new document panel is going to open up, and what you would do is click Print. You would change your pixels. If it's already inches, that's great. So you would make sure that inches are chosen. I like landscape orientation, and I like a large space. So I would use 18 inches wide by 16 inches in height. And I'll click Create. So I can get rid of this old one just because you saw me create a new one. Okay, so this is my blank space. So what I'm going to do is just simply show you some quick little things. I'll choose a background. I don't know which image I want to use as a background. Maybe I'll use the floral print. So there's different ways I can take this image to get it on to the next image. So I can actually click and drag it up. My finger is still on the left side of the mouse, drag it down, and it's here. That's one way of doing it. Or I can simply click on the image, make sure that it's selected. You always want to use the move tool to select your layers or your images. Click on it, move it around just to make sure it's selected. Hit Command C, which means copy. Now Command V, as in Victor, for paste. So I need to transform this and resize the image. So I'll hit Command T to transform, and then I'll drag it out. Let's say I wanted this to be the backdrop or the background. I'll hit enter. Yeah, so it's not as pixelated once you hit enter. So I'll leave that there. I don't know what I want to do, but that's just one way of adding a layer. And if you look down here, you'll see that you have this pane here shows that different layers that you have. You have the background layer, you have the layer 1. If you wanted to just work on background, you can click the eyeball to make it invisible. And then when you click it again, it makes it visible. Okay, so we copied and pasted that. Like I said, I'm going to keep it. As a matter of fact, I'll expand it just to make it a little wider. So remember, it's Command T to transform a layer. Okay. Now, let's say I wanted to cut her out. Is she already? She's already cut out. So I'll try this young lady. So I'm going to just click on this layer to make sure it's selected. Hit Command C to copy it. Command V to paste her. Command T to resize it, stretch it out. I'll move her over here and hit enter. So great. Thank God she's not pixelated. So what I want to do, I want to try to remove this gray background. It's different things that you can do, but let me try the easiest way that I think will work. So I'm going to click this little tab here and I'm going to click on the magic wand tool. I'm clicking on the background of this image. Now, too much is selected, so I don't like what I see. I'm going to hit select, deselect. I'll try something else. I'll try the quick selection tool. Once I click that, I'll click and drag the area that I want to delete. And this seems to work out just fine, so I'll hit delete. It's taking forever to delete. But that's what we wanted. So now I'm going to select this other section. You pretty much click and drag the area that you want to delete. Now I'm going to hit delete. Perfect. Now this section in the center, well, I'll actually hit deselect so it moves everything out. It cut out a little bit of her face. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to zoom in and go backwards to see what I did wrong. So I'll hit edit, step back, edit, step backward. Okay, so you'll see here, I'm going to zoom in. You'll see here that the quick selection tool left out some of her face and her elbow. So what I need to do is subtract what I removed. So I'll hit the minus, quick selection. Now I'm bringing it, I'm just dragging it over. I'm going to do the same thing with her elbow. The same thing with her elbow. This piece of her elbow. This piece of her shoulder. I'm going to hit delete. Now all of that's deleted. Now I'll hit select and deselect. So to get rid of this gray area, I'm going to try the magic wand again and see if it's going to be our friend. So I'll hit magic wand, click inside, see too much taken out. So I'll hit deselect. I'll go back to the quick selection tool and get rid of that space. Well, actually, I want it to be a plus. So delete that. The same thing here. Too much is selected. So I may just leave that alone. I don't want to waste too much time on it. And I'll do the same thing for the section of her legs. Hit delete. Select, deselect. And move out. So now you have an idea. I'm going to click on her. An idea of how you can create layers. And I might be able to pull this down. Let's see what this is going to look like behind her. So that's that. Now, maybe I want to take another image in. I want to bring this image in the frame. So this time I'm just going to drag it over, left click, drag, still holding it down. Now I dropped it. I'm going to expand it. Hit enter. Perfect. I'll move this behind her. So now it kind of looks like a window. Maybe I'll resize it just a little bit. I hit Command T to transform. So I actually like that. I want to create another window. So I'll hit it just to make sure that it's selected. I'll click it. I'm going to hit Command C to copy, Command V to paste. And I'll bring that there. Now let's see if I want to add another, maybe her. I already cut her out, so I'm going to copy her, Command C, and paste her here. What do I use to transform? Command T. I'll expand her, make her a little larger. Hit enter or return, and here she is. One thing I don't like, I hate that cut off, so I'm going to make her larger. I'll bring her all the way up to the top. I hate that her head is cut off there. I'm not a fan of that, so I hit enter. So certain things you'll see is not the best quality cutout. You can always go back in and fix it to your liking. But this is just to give you an idea of how you can create layers. I'm going to get rid of this white space in her hand. So I'll use the magic wand to see if I can delete that. Perfect. Delete. I'm going to do the same thing with this section here. Delete. I'll do the same thing here. Delete. So I'll just pretty much select spaces that I want to delete. It's going to take out too much, so I'll leave that there. Yeah, so that's one way, and you'll even see that a piece of her elbow is cut out, but that's okay. You can always fix it. So let's say you wanted to make the opacity of the layer in the back lighter. You would go here to opacity, drag it over, make it light, make it dark. If you wanted to brighten her contrast, you would hit image, adjustments, brightness or contrast, and I'm working only with her. So you can drag it over to the right. The brightness, you could take it over to, I actually like that though. So I'm going to bring this down some. I actually like that tone. So the brightness is -102, contrast is 100. So yeah, so that's this. These are just different ways and different things that you can create. There's so many different things that you can add. You can add text. If you click the text tool and begin to type, the font is really small, so let me bring the font up some. So it's really, I just typed in summer. It's really small. You can barely see it, but you know, if you highlight it, I'm sorry, you can make the font larger. You can change the style of the font depending on the vibe that you're trying to give. So there's different font that you can choose. As of now, I don't know what font sample I want to use, but just wanted to give you a sample of how you can put together your very own mood board. You can give it a name if you wanted to drop a color on her skin. So I'm going to click her. Let's say you wanted to change the color, do something edgy and funky within her skin. I'll go to the eyedropper, click pink, and fill her in pink. Let's see what happens. It didn't work, but let's try something. Oh, it did work. So that's one way of, just adding some pizzazz. I'll click on her leg, give it that 70s vibe again. Retro colors, and let me click that. Click on the paint bucket, dump the color in her thigh. I'll choose her other leg, her other thigh. Maybe I'll get down here. I selected too much, so if you select too much, all you have to do is hit select, deselect. I'm going to try another area of her leg. Too much has been selected, so I won't waste any more time on that. I'll try her friend. So I'll click here, the magic wand, click her arm. The arm didn't select. Too much of it selected, so deselect. But yeah, I'll stop there before I mess up any further. But so far, this is my little mood board, or quick tools that you can use to create a mood board in Photoshop.